Good morning, guys. Today we're introduced to Will Smith, and he shares with us one of the things that has helped him so much, and it is the idea of living a life of service. And he goes on to tell us that it's the purest form of joy anyone can experience. And another thing he reminds us of is the fact that we are meant to serve at least one other person. We're meant to be shared, as we are all each part of the same thing, that source that we all come from. So think about your life today. How many people are you going to serve? Or how many people do you affect through your daily actions? And even deeper through your choices, and even deeper through your thoughts. So remember today, as you go on about your day, as you prepare for it, you are going to be in service, whether you know it or not, of at least one other person, just through your thoughts and actions. Have a great morning, everyone.
Rise and shine, it's espresso time.
Good morning, Believe Nation. It's Evan. I am not a morning person, but here's what I know. When you start your day with a powerful routine that inspires you, it will change your life, like watching these videos. And in celebration of my recent one-on-one with Les Brown, get ready for a shot of espresso from our vaults with Les Brown.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
Is there anything that you wish you didn't do?
Yes. I wish I had not waited 14 years. Somebody said if you want to lose something, lose money. You can get that back. 8 out of 10 millionaires have been financially bankrupt. Walt Disney filed bankruptcy 7 times and had 2 nervous breakdowns. But don't lose time. There were 14 years I sat on the sideline. 14 years I said, I don't have an investor in me like Tony Robbins. 14 years that said, I don't have an MBA or a PhD, and I can't compete with these guys. I have the complexion of rejection. 14 years I silenced myself. Wow. And so I regret that, because there's some people that maybe if they'd heard my voice, they would not have turned to drugs. If they'd heard my voice, their lives would have taken a different direction. And I can't get those 14 years back. That haunts me, and I think that drives me when I speak with such energy. I'm trying to make up for that time, but I can't.
Regret is the thing that I fear the most. The idea that I could have done more, that I could have been more, that I could have pushed harder, that I could have had a bigger impact is the thing that fuels me the most in my life, in my business, in both a business context from accomplishments I could have done or making better videos for you guys and reaching a wider audience, but also my personal life and being a better father and being a better husband and being a better son. It's constantly the drive that I don't want to be 95 years old looking back on my life and thinking, I could have done more, I could have been better. And this really started for me when I was in Paris, when I was 18-ish, and I was on a summer break there, and I had a map, and I was standing outside the Notre Dame Cathedral, and this girl comes up to me, and she wants to ask me for directions, and I'm thinking, does she really want to ask me for directions? And what I wanted to do was ask her out, and I'm wondering, why is she asking me directions in French? Like, her French is perfect, she should know where she's going, like something else is going on here. But I chickened out. I was too afraid. I didn't ask her out. I didn't ask her to, coffee or anything else. And I felt so bad about myself. She left, I took a picture of the area, and when I went home, I put it up on my wall. And it was a constant daily reminder for me. Whenever I woke up, I'd see that picture. Whenever I walked into the room, I would see that picture. The reminder for me was not to live with regret. Because what I did was I let that immediate fear of rejection, of failure, be stronger than me knowing if it was gonna work out or not, than potentially having a great date. And I tried to then take that approach to everything that I did in my life. That if I thought I might regret doing this thing or not doing this thing, then I knew what I had to do. I had to take action. And it's feeling the fear because that immediate fear is real. That immediate fear to ask somebody out, to take that plunge, to take that phone call, to do that speech, to go talk to that customer, that immediate fear is real. what I do is I make the future pain so big, that fear of regret so big that it forces me to take action. So I put that picture on my wall as a daily reminder for myself that the next time something happens, the next time an opportunity comes in front of me that I might regret not doing, I have to go out. I have to take action. And that actually came for me the next year when I had an opportunity to join this biotech software startup company. I thought I was on the path to be a banker. I had potential great jobs lined up to make $80,000 to $100,000 starting salary when traveling around the world, or make $300 a month working at this startup company and owning a piece of the business. And I looked at that picture and it made me remember that I don't want to live with regret. That I can handle the business not working out, I can handle starting it and trying it and it failing, but what I couldn't handle is not knowing. Because I could always go back and get another job if I wanted to. I didn't want to be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years later still thinking, what if I just tried that startup company? What if I just said yes? What if I just gave it a month or gave it 6 months just to see? And so the next time that you're feeling that you might live with regret, the next time you are afraid to do something but you know that you really should, I hope that you summon the courage to do it. Remember this video, remember my talk, remember Les's talk. Project forward. The rocking chair test. You're on your rocking chair at age 95, looking back on your life. Fast forward it now here to today. Will you regret for the rest of your life not taking action? And if the answer is yes, then you know what you have to do.
Now I've got some special bonus clips that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you just watch a video and you get motivated, the science says you have a 35% chance of actually following through. That's not good enough, Believe Nation. We need to take some action. But when you watch a video, you get motivated and you create a specific plan of action, that number jumps from 35% to 91% chance of you following through. And when you publicly commit to other people, like leaving a comment down in this video, your number jumps to 95% chance of you actually following through on the plan you set for yourself. So I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. Leave it down in the comments below so I can celebrate you.
Good afternoon, guys. You know, when we really become aware of just how powerful we are in our thoughts, our choices, and our actions, and when we understand that we are meant to serve more than just ourselves, we become extremely powerful and effective in all our relationships. And relationships are the things that will determine our emotional well-being, even our physical well-being, because we're all so connected. So when we go on this path to understand and live a life that is more than just for ourselves, we start to really become more and more humble and reverent to the fact that we are so important to each other. But then we start to realize just the pure joy of just being our best selves and developing ourselves with that purpose. So we have to show that determination each and every choice we make. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
What every person wants, and especially people in the workplace, is to be seen, respected, valued, and protected. That's what we all want. And we all have the opportunity to bring that forward.
This is one of the coolest book packaging things that I've seen.
It is about leadership. Each and every leader in your company or in your circle has an opportunity to lead in a way that unleashes talent in every single person in your charge.
And there she is.
Hi, Evan. How are you?
I'm great. Tara Jane Frank in the house. I got your book. I got this morning, so I haven't had the time to go through it and everything, but I got this awesome package. It's called The Waymakers, and I thought it'd be cool as a start to kind of go through the whole idea behind this, because this is one of the coolest book packaging things that I've seen. So quickly, what is this? So this is our box. Why is it shaped like a door? What is this?
Well, I'm sure we'll get into it, but a waymaker is someone who opens doors for other people. So that's why there are doors on the front of the box.
And then as you open it up, this was so cool. Like I got to show it. So the first thing that I saw, actually before even getting that, you had this amazing letter. So she, wrote this awesome letter, and what was cool about it is it's old school, sealed, and the logo, I don't know if you guys can see that well, like the logo is, it says the Waymakers here, actually sealed. So it's like, wow, that's a nice little personal touch we got there. So then I open this up, and the first thing I see is this. So it's like the manifesto of what the Waymakers is. So what is the manifesto? Why is it wrapped up, in this cellophane? What's the point of having this in the box?
First of all, I love your question. So I actually wrote the manifesto as soon as I finished writing the Waymakers, because I wanted to have a clear and poetic, honestly, articulation of what it means to make a way for other people. And so I wanted to write that for myself, but I realized when I was done that it's also something I could share with other people. And we wrapped it like that because it's frameable, quite honestly. If anyone's really inspired by it and feels like they want to be a waymaker, it's something they can put in front of them and have visible to them on an everyday basis.
You're talking about building a movement, and you're kind of giving people some of the tools to be able to build a movement and remember what they're doing. So it's not just about read a book and then it sits on the shelf, but it's like, hey, maybe you want to post this up, and not everybody will do it, but it's a nice, like that the forward thinking of it. Anyway, and I love people who are building movement. So this already, as soon as I opened it, I was like, yes, I love this.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next thing was this little box, which I thought was a chocolate.
Everybody
thought it was chocolate. Yeah, I was like, ooh, what's this goodie? She's bribing me with some chocolates. It'd be like caramel on the inside or something. But it's better. It's a key.
Yeah.
And so it fits well with the door theme of the box and the whole messaging. So the key says making a way for everyone. What's the key? What's it all about? Why a key?
Well, the key is to open the doors, right? So if we are the waymaker, if we are the individual who is willing to make a way for others who have been shut out, then we use those keys, and that could be insight, that could be access, that could be opportunity. We use those keys to open doors for other people. So that's the symbolism there.
Right, and a lot of doors are locked, or at least people think that the doors are locked. And so it's like, hey, let's open the door and hold it for other people to walk through. I love it. It's such a great reminder. Okay, then came these things. We haven't read the book yet. Then came these things, and I have not opened these. So I thought we could, I'd look at it. You can explain what these are live while we're on camera. But it looks like there's a bunch of cards in here and some envelopes. So what's the point of these?
Well, part of the waymaking journey, Evan, is building relationships with people, and especially building relationships across differences, so that we can use what we get to know about people, their dreams, their skills, their talents, and help create opportunity for them. So the greeting cards are one way that we can build relationships with other people. There are 6 in there. There's a thank you, an encouragement, a congrats. And this is how we kind of deepen that connection. I worked at Hallmark for 21 years. So because I worked at Hallmark for so long, I started my career as a greeting card writer. It felt appropriate that we bring that background and that expertise into this journey forward.
Cool, I love it. Well, I'm gonna dive in and send some of these out. Yeah, and then the last but not least, hey, here's the book. There it is, Waymakers. You guys can check it out. YouTube, I'll link it up in the description below if you want to go see it. And when I first heard about the book and what you're trying to do, initially I thought, well, how am I going to make sense of this? Because a lot of what I do is entrepreneurship. It's not giant corporations, and for most entrepreneurs they're solo people, right? So they're not really even thinking equity or an inclusion, because like I'm one person just trying to get by. But it made me think of not just team, but also what we create. And this might be a stretch, or this might be like another branch of the movement, but for my channel, this really hit home. We profile a lot of different successful and famous entrepreneurs. And do you know Nichelle Nichols?
I know the name.
Okay, so she was Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek.
Oh, yes.
Okay, the original Star Trek, right? And Gene Roddenberry, who's the executive producer, put her as third in command of the starship. So it was Captain Kirk and then Spock and then Uhura. And at the time, there were no black women on TV in any kind of position of power. And when I was making my YouTube content, I kept getting asked, not like super often, but hey, why don't you have more women on the show? Or why don't you have more people of color on the show? And if we're doing a profile on billionaires, the honest answer is it's hard because there aren't as many women billionaires. And if you want women billionaires of color, you got Oprah, and then now Rihanna hit the list, but it's like it's really, really, really hard to just find anybody. And so I never made it a priority until I heard the story about Lieutenant Uhura. So she was on Star Trek. She was going to quit the show after year 1 to go back to Broadway, which was her love. And Martin Luther King went to go visit her and said, you can't quit the show because of what you're doing for our cause. And she said, but I would rather be out in the streets marching with you. And he said, you're doing it. You're doing your march on TV by being on Star Trek. And so she stayed on the show until the whole thing ended. And my favorite part of the story wasn't that. I mean, I guess it's gotten like, hey, encouraging others, Martin Luther King showing up, encouraging others to like keep going. But Whoopi Goldberg remembered seeing Uhura on TV, running to her mom and saying, Mommy, there's a black woman on TV and she ain't no maid, which then inspired her to become an actress. And so when you see people who are like you doing something, it opens the door to say, hey, maybe I can do that too. And in seeing that, for whatever reason, that's the story that kind of clicked for me to say, wow, I need to do a better job as an entrepreneur in the content I'm sharing to be able to share more messages. I mean, it's a long-winded, kind of give them the background, but why I was so excited to have you on the show is a lot of what you're preaching is through kind of the corporate lens, but how can we as entrepreneurs maybe take what you're doing and apply it to the products we're making or the services we're putting out or the customers that we're trying to serve?
Such a good question. And I love that you asked it. And I also love the story because that idea of representation is such a powerful one. When we see ourselves represented in other spaces, whether it's products or in levels of leadership inside a company or marketing and communications, we feel seen, right? We feel visible. We feel that people are recognizing us. We feel noticed. And those are things that honestly, every single person at work and in life really needs. So it matters to us that we, first of all, understand that what every person wants, and especially people in the workplace, is to be seen, respected, valued, and protected. That's what we all want. And we all have the opportunity to bring that forward and to make sure we're representing various points of view, not only faces, right, and places, but also ideas and expertise and contribution. And those are the ways that we feel seen and believe that we can also make our own way in the world.
How do you help people make the breakthrough that representation is important? Because people will give a lot of lip service to it, but then it's not in their actions and it's not a KPI, and like they're not doing anything against it. So how, like the Uhura story was a thing that made me make the breakthrough. How, or the storytelling, or is it like techniques in the book, or like how are you actually getting people to come on board the movement?
Yeah, the book is honestly really a guidebook, but here's what I tell business leaders anyway, and I think that there's something to learn from this for all of us. When people feel seen, represented, that actually helps us with talent attraction, which can also mean consumer acquisition, right? If you're an entrepreneur and you're selling products, et cetera, if people see themselves represented in the work that you do or in leadership, then they believe they belong in partnership with you. They believe you value me, you care about me. And so it helps with attraction, it helps with acquisition. When people feel respected for their ideas and their expertise and their experience, that really makes them feel like they belong, that they are part of the team. They will give you more of their effort, their energy, their passion, their big ideas. When people feel valued, they're more likely to stay with you. Think about this through a product lens, right? Because I grew up in product development. When consumers feel valued by you, you can retain them. They will stay with you over time and continue to do business with you. And when they feel protected, buffered, shielded, right? Defended, all those things that we know are important to us as human beings. They believe they can trust you. They believe they can trust you and build a relationship with you that can last and get stronger over time. And so through a human lens, these 4 needs are really important. We can deliver them for people in the workplace, but also just in the marketplace, honestly.
It feels kind of cold to
Good evening, guys. I want to share with you a story that highlights the importance of us having a sense of possessing ourselves before we're able to share and service others. And I want to share a story that comes from Stephen Covey in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He gives an example where his daughter, when she was young, had received a gift from others for her birthday. And she didn't want to share her toy, her new gift, with those people that had bought it for her. And you could see him getting very frustrated as it went on and she wouldn't share. But in the end, she simply was demonstrating the fact that she needed to feel that sense of possessing the thing first before she was ready to share it. So those of you that are parents can probably relate to young children. They don't want to share until they feel that sense of it's mine first. So we have to be like that with ourselves. We got to possess ourselves before we share ourselves. Have a great evening, everyone.
One, perfectionism isn't going to be the thing that serves you. What you want to do is focus on what goal are you trying to attain, and then what's it going to take to get to that goal. 99 times out of 100, when you're doing something, let's say at 80% perfect, you get the result, you get the vast majority of the accolades or the success metrics, all of it can be got without having to go all the way to that last 20%. And that last 20% is when you can drive yourself absolutely insane. So you want to be really thoughtful about what standard you're holding yourself to, because if all you're thinking is, man, it's all the way or it is nothing, then what you have to admit is your goal is perfection. Your goal isn't the thing you're trying to accomplish, right? The goal isn't to be a better parent or a better spouse or better at your job. The goal as you are behaving is perfection. Now, if when you say, yes, my goal is perfection, it's not the thing that I'm doing, it is being perfect. So if I'm going to brush my teeth, I am going to brush my teeth perfectly. Wonderful. Then at least you're being honest. And just know that by trying to be that perfect, you are going to far narrow the scope of things that you can do in a way that you wouldn't have to, at least not as much, if you were, say, I'm just after this goal by this date, and I may have to win ugly, but I'm going to get there. Now, that attitude gives you a lot more freedom. You can get in there, you can throw punches, you can get muddy, but as long as you get to the end and you get across the line and you get that victory, and that was what it was about, then things get a lot more interesting. A, you're not going to be paralyzed by perfectionism. B, you're valuing yourself for achieving that thing, going through it, fighting through the mud, crawling, making mistakes, all of that, but you got there in the end. And then the big thing in all of this is priority order. And this is where people really struggle. You have to be willing to put things in order. Now, this is where people struggle because they feel a tremendous sense of guilt that they have to do all of those things as their number one priority. Let me break that for you. You cannot have multiple number one priorities. You can't do it. So I'll give you my life, how I go. My marriage is my number one priority, my business is number 2, and my family is number 3. That's the reality. Now, I'm sure as my family members, it's not lovely to think that you're in third place, but my thing is, I'm trying to spend, when I spend time with them, I'm spending quality time. I am focused on them. I am 100% there. I'm not trying to be perfect, but I'm completely engaged. And by being completely engaged, they don't feel like they're in position 3 because I've allocated that time to be with them, and I'm not trying to work at the same time that I'm with them. When I'm with them, and that's that. But in terms of making sure that things are done in order, they're in that order. So if cleaning house is really important to you, but it's your 4th priority, then it's going to suffer. And then the question becomes, why would you beat yourself up for doing things in the right order? So you know that there is a finite amount of time. You know that if these are the 5 things that you want to accomplish, you only have 100% of your time, you're going to allocate a certain percentage of your time to each of those, then what you're saying is, this will get the results that the percentage of time that I've allocated to it allows it to get. And just being really comfortable. So I don't beat myself up over that because I know it's physics. I am up against physics. I cannot slow time down. So the reality is that I'm only going to be able to get so much done. Now, of course, I can work to become more efficient and all of that stuff, and I do. But at the end of the day, I realize that either holding myself to this ridiculously high expectation of perfectionism actually reduces the number of things that I can get done, because that final 20% ends up taking more time and energy than the 80% that got the result anyway. So looping around that, instead of saying, cool, I'm going to get there, I might have to win ugly, but I'm going to get there, and then putting things in order so that I know, yep, the thing at the bottom belongs at the bottom for a reason, and it is not going to get the time and attention that the other things are going to get, because that's how ordering things works. So you have to be fearless when it comes to putting things in order. But oddly enough, really, really, a lot of people get tripped up with that. Don't let that be you. Own it. Own what matters to you in order, write it down, and stick to it. If you do that, and then you don't need every little thing to be perfect, you can make some crazy progress in the things that matter most. Other things will fall by the wayside. It is what it is.
Need motivation? Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Tom Bilyeu, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, pursue self-fulfillment.
In fact, right now, we're all going to make a promise to ourselves. You can do it silently. We don't have to have everybody shouting it out. But you're going to make a promise to yourself right now, because if you follow through with what we're about to say, everything will be different. If you fail to do this, you'll come back a year from now and you're going to write the same shit on the wall. I promise, because this is the part that you have to break out of. Make yourself a promise right now that you will disengage your sense of self, your sense of self-worth from achievement. And you're going to marry that to pursuit. Once you are wholly focused on sincere pursuit, everything changes. When you're focused on outcome, when you're saying to yourself, I want to get rich, I want to win the Academy Award, those are my dreams, it's an end state, right? It doesn't work. Like, here's one of those things. Things become trite because they're so true. So please, for the love of God, don't make people repeat the most obvious shit ever, like money can't buy happiness. Okay? Money can't buy happiness. It can buy a lot of cool shit. It bought me a really nice house. In fact, baby, show the photo. Yeah. We actually own part of that jet company. I'm not joking. How crazy is that? We know the CEO. There was one time where I was trying to get on the flight and they were giving me shit. I can't remember why. And I called the CEO up and I was like, yo, you need to talk to your gate agent. Like, that's money. It's bananas. Money is better than you think. It is more powerful than you think, but it is not at all what you've been told. Money solves money problems, and that's awesome. And there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with money. There's no joke. So we run Impact Theory out of our house. Our house is like 10,000 square feet, swimming pool, balconies, all that crazy shit. One of our rooms is actually called, when we bought the house, they called it this. It's called the Great Room. And that thing is big. I'm not joking. We once played Nerf with Nerf guns. We did like a whole hide and seek, capture the flag thing in the house. It was crazy. So money does really extraordinary things. People will chase money forever because money actually has utility. So I am not the guy that's saying, oh, money doesn't matter, or money's not a thing, or money's not worth the pursuit. What I am saying, though, money really can't buy happiness. The very thing that you're pursuing in your life is very simple. It is fulfillment. That's it. Now, I sum up fulfillment very simply. How do you feel about yourself when you're by yourself? Do you feel good? Do you feel like you're making the most of your life? Are you tapping into what the Greeks call techne? Are you working your ass off? And that's a key component. Is it hard? Are you working your ass off? Sad but true. Are you working your ass off for a set of skills? This is the angry face. This is about tapping into rage. We talked about that, Elizabeth. Not at rage yet. We'll get there.